Okay, guys, next section in notes is red blood cells. Red blood cells are called erythrocytes. They are one of the formed elements in your blood, as well as platelets and white blood cells. We'll come back to those other two in another lecture. So, red blood cells are called erythrocytes, and they make up 95% of your formed elements. Okay, they're very important shape. It's called biconcave discs. They're kind of like a Smarties candy. Is kind of how I think of it. The shape is very important so that it has a high surface area to carry oxygen. There is no nucleus and no organelles because its job is just to carry oxygen. There are antigens on the surface that determine your blood type, like A positive, B negative, AB positive, O negative. If you're interested in that, you can go look that up again because we learned it in biology. Our erythropoiesis is the actual process of making red blood cells. A red blood cell can live about 120 days till it falls apart because it's being shoved through capillaries and small vessels. It takes 4 days to a week to make one red blood cell. They are made in your red bone marrow, and you make 2.5 million each second. They're called reticulocytes when they leave the bone marrow, the bone and the bone marrow. So a reticulocyte is a immature red blood cell. So if you look at the bottom here, it starts as a stem cell. It differentiates until there's some antigens on the surface, and it loses its nucleus, and then it leaves the bone as a reticulocyte, matures out in the bloodstream to become a red blood cell. Erythropoietin is a hormone that controls us making more red blood cells. So your kidney, plural kidneys, sense how much oxygen is in your blood. If there's not enough, so if your oxygen level dips below normal, we would go on the left-hand side here, and your kidneys would make erythropoietin to tell your bone marrow to make more red blood cells. Then your available oxygen would return to normal. If you're someone with a kidney disease or a kidneys not functioning quite up to par, your kidneys wouldn't make enough erythropoietin, so your bone marrow wouldn't know to make more red blood cells, and then your oxygen level doesn't come back up to where it should be. Hemoglobin is very important. It is how the oxygen moves around in our body. So hemoglobin, each red blood cell has 250 million hemoglobin molecules. That's a lot. And each hemoglobin molecule has one iron and a protein. Right? So heme is iron, Fe, and protein, globin, so hemoglobin. Each hemoglobin carries 4 oxygens. It has a high affinity for oxygen molecules. When the oxygen is attached, it is actually called oxyhemoglobin. The oxyhemoglobin is carrying oxygen from your lungs out to your body. Okay? And when it's leaving your heart, it's called your arteries away from the heart. And it is bright red. If it's deoxyhemoglobin, it has dropped off its oxygen and the veins are taking it back to the heart. And since the oxygen's not there, it's a dark red color. So like I said, your blood is never blue. It's bright red or dark red. Unless you have some kind of other issue, your blood should not be any other colors than bright red or dark red. It is never blue. All right, so cleanup, what happens? So once 120 days has gone by and your red blood cells are starting to fall apart or have fallen apart, your spleen filters them out and breaks them apart if they're not already broken apart. And it recycles the iron and the globin, and it sends some of the heme, or what we call bilirubin, over back into the bloodstream where the liver can pull it out. Okay, so bilirubin would be pulled out by the liver. And the liver stores it in the gallbladder. And then the gallbladder then uses it in your digestive system to help break down fats and other foods in your small intestine. And it's actually what makes your poop brown. But you may have heard of somebody being jaundice. Jaundice is when that bilirubin is stuck up in the blood circulation and your liver's not filtering it out correctly. So someone turning yellow, their eyes turning yellow, their skin turning yellow is a clue that their kidney is not functioning correctly. A lot of babies are born jaundice. Basically, their liver hasn't quite finished developing or kind of started doing its job yet. So they put babies under lights, and the lights, the UV rays, break down the bilirubin and help jumpstart the liver. Sorry about that. And then there's a blood detectives video to watch. White blood cells, next episode.